The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is not just a floating island of trash in the Pacific, but a huge mess that covers 1.6 million square kilometers. The garbage also doesn't all just float. Much of it sinks to the ocean floor, which is damaging coral reefs and other life forms that dwell on the oceanic floor. More than 600 marine species, from plankton to whales, are affected by plastic waste in ocean habitats. All because of one material that is convenient for human use but detrimental to not only the environment but also to the ocean's animals and potentially humans who eat fish and have ingested the deadly material. This material I am speaking of is, of course, plastic. Plastic paves its way into the ocean by floating down drains of rivers and off beaches, and sometimes may be dumped intentionally from ships. Global annual plastic consumption has now crossed over 320 MN tons, with more plastic produced in the past 10 years than ever before. Plastic and synthetic debris in the environment has a profound negative effect on various organisms and ultimately humans. There are potentially 5 garbage patches scattered globally, located in the North and South Pacific Ocean, the North and South Atlantic Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch happens to be the largest of all of these and was not even discovered until 1997 by yachtsman Charles Moore, who was returning home when he chose a route that took him through this North Pacific subtropical gyre. A gyre is a large system of swirling ocean currents. The area in the center of a gyre tends to be very calm and stable. The circular motion of the gyre draws debris into the stable center where it becomes trapped. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is classified into 2 main regions, the Western and Eastern Garbage Patches. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is comprised of trash from countries surrounding the Pacific Rim, including nations in Asia and North and South America. The total weight of artificial waste found in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch amounts to roughly 7 million tons. It is estimated that 80% of oceanic plastic pollution originated from land-based sources, with 20% originating from marine sources. Examples of marine sources are discarded fishing lines, nets, ropes, and rarely abandoned vessels. Land-based sources cover plastic waste that find itself in the oceans after either being littered or originating from mismanaged plastic waste. Mismanaged plastic waste is plastics that enter the oceans either through landfill runoff, uncontrolled disposal of plastics, as well as poor waste management and recycling practices. Plastics account for 99.9% of the debris within the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, of which 94% of the debris are microplastics. Although these microplastics only make up 8% of the total mass of the patch, most plastics break down into smaller pieces, forming individual polymer molecules. This usually occurs by photodegradation and forms plastic bits called nurdles. These microplastics pose a larger threat to the environment. They are redistributed to every region of the ocean by currents and may affect all trophic levels from mammals to plankton. Because they are so remote, garbage patches can be hard to study. So far, we know that marine debris found in the garbage patches impact wildlife in several ways, including entanglement in ghost nets and ingestion. Plastic litter is frequently mistaken for food by marine life, and leading to health complications and death. Ingestion of this plastic has various effects that include a reduction in the absorption of nutrients by the gut, reducing the amount of space for actual food particles, ulceration of tissues, starvation, ruptured organs, and mechanical blockages in the digestive system. Ocean microplastic contamination has the potential to cause widespread, poorly reversible, and long-term ecological impacts on marine ecosystems. The plastic ends up in the ocean due to human negligence and incapability to properly recycle or dispose of these products. Of the 80% of the land-based sources that are littering our oceans, it is generated by littering or careless disposal of trash along shorelines and inland. Litter can make its way to storm drains, which then carry the debris into waterways and out to sea by currents. Of the plastic entering the ocean, only small amounts are carried far offshore. Most either sink or stay close to the shoreline. Only a small portion of plastic produced may be recycled or incinerated, while the majority will either be discarded into landfills or littered into natural environments, including the world's oceans. While many different types of trash enter the ocean, plastics make up the majority of marine debris for 2 reasons. The durability of plastic, low cost, and malleability mean that it is being used more and more for consumer and industrial products, and plastics do not biodegrade but instead break down into smaller pieces. Economic impacts from the damage to fisheries, shipping, and tourism are detrimental, especially for coastal towns. As the Great Pacific Garbage Patch continues growing and the ocean waste in general keeps accumulating, these effects are increasingly being felt economically. For boaters, large pieces of marine debris pose navigational hazards and can damage their vessels. Commercial and recreational fishers are further affected by marine debris because it drives down fish populations, and when there are fewer fish available, there's a loss of income for fishers. Coastal areas depend on tourist dollars to support their economy. They lose revenue when debris reduces the beauty and recreational value of the shoreline. In severe cases, beaches are even closed due to the amount of debris in the water. Debris is a hazard to swimmers and divers who can become entangled in plastics or cut by sharp objects. In an effort to combat the problem of marine debris on beaches, many coastal cities have launched massive cleanup efforts, but these also come at a cost. In 2012, the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency, reported that the U.S. West Coast communities spend in excess of $520 million each year to keep beaches clean. What is even more troubling than the growing economic cost of marine debris is the potential cost to human health. With more marine animals becoming plastivores, there's a growing concern about what this means for humans at the top of the food chain. When humans eat fish that have ingested plastic or have eaten other fish that have eaten plastic, the chain of events puts people at risk of dinner plates full of plastic and toxins concentrated in them. The chemicals and additives used to make plastic have proven negative effects on humans. These include an increased risk of breast cancer in women, early puberty in girls, and endocrine disruption that may adversely affect developmental, reproductive, neurological, and immune systems. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services also reported that ingesting chemicals commonly found in plastic can cause joint pain, fatigue, weakness, skin anomalies, and loss of appetite. Overall, the improper disposal of garbage, particularly plastics, by humans is what caused and continues to add to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. The consequences are detrimental not only to the environment, but also to marine life and to the humans who consume these animals. While there have been efforts to reduce the amount of plastic entering the oceans and efforts to clean up the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and coastal beaches, these efforts are not enough to make a real change. Not only this, but plastics continue to break down into smaller and smaller pieces that become nearly impossible to remove without disrupting the natural plankton in the ocean. There must be efforts to find solutions to this obstacle so that we can make our oceans cleaner and safer for all marine animals and humans.